and there's also 7-Eleven. So there's a 7-Eleven, a Plaza, Shake Shack, and Thomas R. Klein. So the gas was coming up through there big time, or that's what it smelled like. But more like dirty gas. Like there was a dirty smell to it. Whatever that is. Anyway, it's super early in the morning. So early that here on Tuesday, March 11th, which is 3/11, the lights were not lit. So they could be on, Market Street with the New York City style billboards. I was gonna wait a little bit longer to come out, but I wanted to get it out of the way this morning. Sometimes the earlier the better, because I tend to avoid lots of crowds if I can. And anyway, they could be reprogramming the lights for new ads to be put in, or who knows. Every once in a while I come out early enough where I've been out super early before and the lights have been on, so it's an odd thing of reprogramming of ads or whoever controls what. So too early for the lights. But in a way, I can say not lit up Market Street so far today. On Tuesday, it's Farmers Market Day. So interestingly, we have farmers coming in from Lancaster, where they just had that airplane crash, the Bonanza, Beechcraft Bonanza. They claim that all aboard were taken to hospitals, but there's been no other word, no other word on these folks. I'll have to check the news again today. They've been bandying about the term casualties with both, with the airplane crash and also the cargo ship and tanker out over by the UK on the east side of the United Kingdom in the North Sea, and they keep using the word casualties. And admittedly, so often in the past I immediately assume casualties means deaths, but I double checked because I'm like, they keep using it, but then they say they're rescued or taken to a hospital or whatever. So it's like casualties means basically, typically it's used in regards to military staff, but it could be used otherwise. But anyone who's put out of service due to death, injury, or other, maladies, if you will, maladies, right? So a casualty just means someone is put out of service and cannot perform their duties normally. That's what it seems to mean according to, Google and your normal dictionary, So, but every time I see casualties, my brain immediately goes to deaths. But I guess they would say fatalities or deaths. But casualties is a general umbrella term to say, it's bad enough to sort of be quite a major incident or what have you. Interestingly, on the boats, what I learned just from, reading a few news clips and seeing a few videos, the Solong, Portuguese Solong cargo ship was carrying potentially 15 containers full of sodium cyanide. I'm not sure what, that's considered a hazardous material, I believe. I don't know what it's used for, so I know it's sodium always starts with Na on the element, the periodic table, so it's NaCN. So NaCN or whatever. So salt, table salt. I guess salt is NaCl. Sodium. Oh wait, no, is that right? Anyway, NaCl is typically what we see more often in our daily lives. If we were aware of the periodic table of elements and that were brought into our lives. But anyway, But it's interesting if you look at the names, like Solong hits the Immaculate, which I think of Immaculata, and I think of the Pope, who's been in, sort of poor health of recent, weeks, or, so all these things come up. I forget what Stena, S10A, Immaculate. It's really Immaculate, but I think of Immaculata. So, anyway. But flag-wise, the cargo ship Solong was flagged as Portuguese. I had a Portuguese flag, and I guess operated by the Portuguese or Portugal, although Brazil speaks Portuguese and they're technically a Portuguese. I don't know if they're still considered colonialized, or how, whatever the territories are in terms of ownership, or however that works. And the oil tanker was actually United States. So that's interesting. Like, what does it all mean? If you were to read things that way. I say this because it smells like gas here, down by Dan. And PGW is here, and it smells like gas. It smells like gas over at Shake Shack. Should I tell them? So anyway, so it also smells like gas at this corner here, Moravian and 16th, where Dan, a very, much ordered from. It's a small sit-down restaurant. It is considered kind of nice. It's got limited seating, I guess, despite that, and a lot of people order from there through DoorDash or other delivery means. I DoorDash for like a month and a half, and there are so many orders from Dan, it's ridiculous. Of course, I lived nearby, so, but still. And Shake Shack was another one. A lot of people order from Shake Shack, and people hang out at Shake Shack if they work for DoorDash or similar, and they wait for their orders to come through. Like, they typically, there's like hot spots, and orders come up on your phone, and if you're sitting at a Shake Shack, you might be funneled those orders more often. So anyway, point being, back to when I pursued my MFA, Master of Fine Arts, I felt like I had to. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a lot of options. It's hard to explain. It has to do with what began in 2011. I was trying to escape that. But I would read one or two pieces that could almost appear to be coded, if you will. Because if you were to really read between the lines and read the names of the streets, it tells quite a story. Subversively, if you will. Like a story, I think it's the Emmett Till story, but his story occurred on Money Street in like Arkansas or Alabama. And Money Street immediately paints an entire picture. Like, most people read over it and they don't think about it. It's hard to be a serious reader. Most people scan a little bit and they pick up on certain things, or they read materials that, kind of help our brain escape. But if you read